Endless Winter, Gold Label, Wonder Woman. Let's do it. She does look good, doesn't she? Let's see if McFarlane pulls something off here, because the last Wonder Woman that I had, I took her off the shelf. So let me start by saying I don't know this storyline. I have not read it. That's not that I have no interest. It's that there are a million things to read out there, and I am currently reading hundreds of them, which gives me less time to read hundreds of these. And I am watching hundreds of things, and I'm playing hundreds of things. And as we do that, we miss out on certain things. This is one storyline that I did miss out on. It will not be hard for me to catch up on this. This will be a very simple buy that I can read in one sitting, because I'm sure that there is just a single graphic novel that I can read. So why did I buy this? 1, it is Wonder Woman. 2, it did feel like it fit the design. And because 3, even though I have already missed the opportunity twice, I want some winter figures. I wanted some figures that I could do some winter shots with for like when it snowed. It snowed one time and I was working 10 hours at work, and then I got home and then the sun was already down and it basically stopped snowing. Then it snowed again, but it snowed like in the morning, and by the time I got home it was no longer snowing, and there was snow on the ground, but it like wasn't enough to get the kind of shots that I would have wanted, so it didn't feel right to go out and get them. Winter's far from over. I'm sure that we'll get another big one at some time. Not that I'm looking forward to it. I don't like snow. I don't like to be in the snow. I don't like to drive in the snow. I don't like to play in the snow. I don't like the snow. Period. Once you get... Maybe this isn't fair for everybody. Once you get to be an older person, my age, I am 40, and once you get to be 40 years old, and you have the kind of living situation that I do, when it snows, you drive to work and you literally risk your life to do menial labor. When it snows, you risk your life to go home. That's not a joke. You literally do. I don't think anybody really stops to think about that, but there is not a time that it does not snow here. Every single time that it snows here, I see people in the ditches, I see people in the gutters, I see automobile accidents. The last time it snowed here, driving home, there were 3 car accidents on just my 15-minute commute. That's it. There were 3 of them, and they were all pretty big accidents. Like, I saw 2 totaled cars and 1 car that was spun out completely backwards and fell into the ditch. And you literally risk your life because you don't have to be the guy that messes up. That jerk can be the guy that hits you. You take a chance with your livelihood every time it snows. You take a chance with your life every time that it snows, just to go to work, just to come home to work, just to pick somebody up, just to make a random trip to go do something that doesn't really need to be done. And every time it snows, if you live in a situation like me where like I have a home, I have to go shovel. I have to go shovel, and I have to put down salt, and I have to do all this extra stuff. Snow is not fun. I don't like snow. There's nothing magical about snow, okay? I know White Christmas and blah, 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 and some people are going to be like, oh my gosh, bah humbug Bill. You know what? I'm fine. I'll take that label. I don't like the snow. And also, because I have worked in factory labor and warehouse labor for so long throughout the course of my life, that like, snow also means that there's a high probability that I will like be outside in it. I don't want to do that. I don't like snow. Okay, it's not magical to me. It's a pain in my butt. I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. But I think snow makes for some absolute fantastic photography shots. And I don't really have a lot of snow figures. So I said to myself, Bill, you're going to get some snow shots this year. You didn't do it last year. Well, okay, that's not fair. I did a couple of snow shots last year, but they were scenery snow shots. The way it looked, it was too good to pass up, so I did some scenery photography. But then I said to myself, Bill, you need some figures for the snow this year. And I've missed my opportunity each time that it has snowed, and I haven't really opened a whole lot of snow-esque figures. Well, here we go. That is the only real reason I bought this Wonder Woman at all, for the snow and for Wonder Woman. So we will see how this goes and how I feel it looks, because I don't know. And I know that McFarlane is famous for giving us figures that, like, can't move. So I don't know if this will very much be like a figure that's basically just standing in the snow, or if this will actually be a good figure. We will find out soon. Let's open her. Okay, so Shield. Decent enough. I mean, we're not going to cry about it. It's decent enough Shield. One could argue the paint could have been better. This could have been a more bronze with kind of like a finish to it. And maybe if not even a finish, just like a better bronze color with like an actual bit of shine that could reflect a little bit in the light, but not terrible. I don't expect way too much from McFarlane figures. And if we're being perfectly honest, we've talked about this before. When it comes to figures, especially like in the McFarlane line, you're talking about figures that are at a $20 and $25 value, up to like $40 at the best. Well, you could argue, but you get the idea. I will forgive a lot in a figure line that is that cheap. So, gotta like this axe. Okay. One could argue that this should have been like painted, but this is fine. It's just nothing that I'm interested in complaining about. So let's see her. Okay, so in terms of design, because I am seeing this for the first time. So Endless Winter. I don't know what the storyline is about. I'm assuming it is cold. I'm assuming we're looking at an end-of-world event that caused it to be super cold, and so a lot of these heroes, they took on motifs that kind of play to the idea, and for that idea, this is still very much Wonder Woman. I like that she's done her hair like this, so, and actually this is kind of accurate and whatnot for like a snow kind of thing, because this would help to stop things like the accumulation of it building up in your hair and whatnot, and then your hair getting really wet and everything. Keeping it tight like this would actually keep you a little bit warmer. Not that she really has to worry about that, but you get the idea. I like the idea of the face. It's kind of stern, but it's really cool. Like, it looks good to me. It's a good looking Wonder Woman with this really defined right here. It's kind of hard on the brow and everything. One could argue she should be a little prettier, but I don't think this is bad, in all honesty. I like that you have the Wonder Woman motif design right here, but under it, we've added this really thick layer, and that's because, you know, it's cold. I'm guessing, very much making assumptions here. I like that we still have the gauntlets, but we're now wearing these like gloves over the gauntlets. So there's still a lot of Wonder Woman factors here that I'm seeing that make me feel like the design is well thought out. It's very much Wonder Woman while still adding to the idea and playing to the storyline idea. We've added this area right down here, which is very much like something out of like snowy barbarian comics or like Norseman type of ideas, where we're playing with an idea like we have the long Ted battle skirt that kind of keeps you warm and whatnot. We have the front and the sides, which is really solid, where the front very much represents the old figure design, like the old look where the battle skirt is. And we have this really cool belt that comes down that I like quite a bit. And then we're still wearing the boots that these have kind of become the customary boots that we see on Wonder Woman ever since Gal showed up, ever since we did the Wonder Woman with Gal Gadot. How do you say that name? Am I supposed to say Gadot? Because I've heard people say it both ways, and I don't want to necessarily be wrong. I really like her, is the reason I'd like for that to be correct. But you get the idea. But we're very much wearing her boots. I'll call them the Gal boots. As far as I'm concerned, any Wonder Woman that's wearing these boots, they are Gal inspired, because this was not a comic thing until Gal wore these boots. And then they started showing up a lot on like the actual character design, which is fine for what it's worth. But we don't have skin this time. These boots wrap around and they're still very much the same, but you could tell that underneath of them, we've added thick layers because we have the pants and everything because of the situation that we're dealing with, is my guess. We are looking at a McFarlane type figure, so yeah, we're not going to get too much out of it. Side kicks are somewhat possible. Front kicks are somewhat possible. The knees are double. Are they double? Yes, they are, and they're actually very good. So the knees are double, so we got a lot of movement here. So we'll be able to take a lot of stances and everything that won't really give us any troubles. They are high heels, but they did something that I argue this all the time. If you're going to do high heels, I still kind of want this area filled in. Because these are action figures, okay? And one of the things that I need my action figure to do is stand. I need it to stand. So even I'm willing to give up certain levels of accurate, comic accurateness. I realize that they're in stilettos sometimes, but keep these flat, which I honestly believe that Gal's boots, they're flat like that anyway. They have the heel, but then they have the entire bottom area, which is flat to give her the stabilization and whatnot. So I think that's accurate to these boots in the first place, but that, you get what I'm saying. Like, if you're going to do heels on a character like Emma Frost, I'd rather this area be filled in and just give me the idea that the heel is there, because I want them to be able to stand. And I also like all of this. The fur cape and everything like that comes down. If this was a later McFarlane, maybe this could have actually been a fur thing that could have wrapped around her, and that would have been really cool. Especially since we're actually getting the capes now, which brings up a question. Are we about to have a whole bunch of re-releases of the stuff that we've already got, so that now we can buy them with the capes, and everybody wants the capes, so of course we're going to be like a bunch of schmucks, go out and buy the guys that we've already bought? Because I could see us doing that. I don't want to do that, but I can see us doing that. But otherwise, that's her. I like this design. I think it is very solid. I think that for what it's worth, putting the shield on and whatnot, we have the shield. That was incorrect. I apologize. Not that it mattered to anybody, to be honest. But we have the shield, which is really solid. We have the axe, which will go in her hand, I'm sure. I haven't encountered a problem like that in the McFarlane stuff yet. Usually the hands are pretty decent about that stuff. I'm having a little bit of trouble, to be fair, but I really don't think, once I mess with it for a little while, there, pull your fingers out a little bit. There, I got it. Is this an up and down wrist? It's a ball joint wrist. But she has the axe. I don't think I'm gonna like blow anybody's mind with the way that I'll be able to pose it or anything like that. But I think with a really good shot, just something as simple as like this, actually, just this kind of a stance, or maybe something to the side where she's like standing like this or something like that, just out in the snow, or maybe even if that is across her shoulder, like where I can get something like this, and if I have the snow actually coming down on her, I think that she will do just a couple of easy poses out in the snow. I think she's good. She's decent. Not the best figure I've ever opened. Wow, I just put her right down. She stood easily. Like no problem at all. Just stood right up with no problems at all. Good. Endless Winter Wonder Woman added to the shelf. And I don't see any reason to complain about this one. I got rid of the other one. We talked about it. I can't even remember what one it was right now. But I took one of the Wonder Woman off the shelf in the Wonder Woman What Stays, What Goes video. The DC shelf, What Stays, What Goes. We talked about that. I got rid of one because I just did not like her. This one doesn't feel like it's going to share the same fate. I feel like there's a lot of Wonder Woman here. And I feel like overall it's a better figure and it doesn't have that sword problem. So that's a plus for her regardless. Added to the shelf. Happy to have her.
I have spoken. Take what you will from it.